Like, especially now that I guess they're going citywide with the, the being able to call somebody that we need mental health.
No, take time. I'm just waiting on your cue. I'm just communicating.
So if we could be like maybe focusing a little more on like letting people know about alternatives and making sure that we have some of that stuff. Maybe that would be more. More useful than just making people get arrested.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. So, yeah, I'm moving on. Yeah, I just think it's really hard, at least to share in a sensible way. I mean, it's at least our police.
Yeah, I understand that, but then why?
But it's worked in other cities.
Yeah, in what way? Where did you think?
California has done this,
That like,
built up, instead of contacting the police, calls go to.
that's.
Yes, yes. And that I think is really. This police need mentally unhappy people.
Well, also, in domestic situations, there's such a huge range of what can be going on. And, yeah,
That's just one little piece.
and. People may need to have an interruption at the moment when things are hot, but it might need more to resources and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not completely clear what they're doing regarding domestic violence. They definitely don't want to talk about it. It might be meetings, they are like,
Yes, we have to. Okay.
we can't talk.
Yeah.
And I understand why there's.
And we'll make the announcement, but
all we're doing is.
asked to defer February until next month. Primarily,
Lots.
just delivered to us today,
Rest.
this morning. So if you have no issue with
Domestic
that,
violence.
I have no context to it because that was.
It wasn't last year.
Or what's in order to you.
So that's why I was wondering if we
Sounds good.
maybe shift our focus more toward, like spreading information about here's things, real alternatives that can be done, and but I think it also is a fair amount of.
Time now is 1:09 p.m. I want to welcome everyone to the 14th Police District Council meeting for March 21, 2026. Go ahead and get the roll call out of the way. Councilor Orlikoff.
I'm here.
Councilor Vargas is not present. I am Councilor Laurent. We have 2 of 3, so we can continue. Do we have anyone joining via Zoom? Okay, so Councilor Vargas will not be joining us remotely, so we can proceed since we do have quorum. We have called it the word. Let's. So I guess we'll move on to approval of the agenda. I didn't see any issues myself, except for the outstanding issue of the improper address of the next meeting, which is on page 2 under section 13, it looks like. Humboldt Park Library, the corrected address should be 1605 North Troy. That's correct. Okay, and with that being said, I move that by unanimous consent, we approve the agenda as delivered. Oh, as amended, rather. Any?
I have heard, yeah, on the agenda, I have discussion topics relating to updates for the resolution on protecting Chicago from fascism that the council passed previously. I think it could go under the evidence-based approaches, public safety, or possibly under police accountability, but
Well, I mean, that's independent discussion that we can kind of layer in. I've got items for those as well that I didn't put on the agenda as well, but
sure.
those will be just the discussions, but notwithstanding,
Yeah, I'll true.
okay, it's approved by unanimous consent, the agenda, so we can proceed forward. Okay, everybody's favorite time of the meeting. Approval of minutes. So being the fact that we just were delivered early this morning, the meeting minutes from February, we're going to defer those to a follow-on meeting unless I wasn't here for the February meeting. So I have no contest. If they're in approval by Council Orlikoff, I will not object to that. But we do have to take care of the business of the January minutes. Any corrections from you, Council Orlikoff?
No, I don't believe so.
Seeing none, I move that by unanimous consent, we approve the minutes from the January 3, 2026 meeting of the 14th Police District Council. Any objections or discussion?
Nope.
All right, hearing none, these are approved by unanimous consent. All right, and February, did you want to defer or?
Yes, I would like to, but also hopefully when Councilor Vargas.
Absolutely, I wouldn't take it any other way. Like I said, I wasn't here, so I can't really. Struck that. All right, public comment. We do have wireless mics now, so everyone can be heard loud and clear on our web stream. That being said. Looks like we've got 2 public comments submitted. Carolyn Fortman is number one. Well, first one.
You didn't, so.
No public comment?
Oh,
Okay,
Sorry.
so then we got the one, which is Sally Hayman, I imagine. That's true. We got a wireless mic for you if you want to speak into that way they can hear you online.
Great, thanks. I just saw recently that there's a new 2026 law that requires that the police department send Mayor Johnson and 3 city council committee chairs monthly reports on repeated police misconduct allegations and lawsuits. However, this did not happen for January. There was no February report that went in as of a couple of weeks ago. The other interesting thing is this is part of the consent decree. Which by the way is only 22%, 22% completed, even though it was started years ago, back in 2017. So I think there needs to be a lot more effort put into making sure that they are really, the police are seriously working on the consent decree because they don't seem to follow the regulations very well. The city has paid almost $300 million in lawsuits between 2019 and 2024 for police misconduct. That was a report I got from the WTTW article. And to me, that was just horrifying. And they continue, and it keeps going up every year. It seems like we're paying more and more and more on these. So I would really like to see some serious attention paid to these reports. And I would like the police, when they come to these meetings, to give us reports of what's happening in the 14th district. I want to know what officers in our area are
implicated.
Yeah,
Not to
absolutely.
take time up, but yeah, I'm just trying to help you out there.
Yeah, thank you. The other thing that concerns me, and I said in the other WTTW article, traffic stops. There were apparently 267,000 traffic stops in 2025 that were not reported to the state as required by law. And that is really concerning to me, that the police just seem to ignore any laws or regulations that apply to them in both cases. I mean, aren't they supposed to be upholding the law?
I forgot to set the timer. I imagine 2 minutes are up. However, we will move, straight into friends and concerns where you can continue
No,
discussing.
that's okay, that's all I wanted.
If that works.
All right, well, thank you for your comments. You have a public comment as well? Nat, we've got one more. Surprise.
Oh, sure.
That way, we get the way. That way we can send all kinds of mailers to your address and, no, I'm joking. Get the wireless mic for it as well. You're the best. Nat Duran, our number one staff rep.
So is the mic working? Yeah, okay. So I'd like to speak to alternatives for helping us keep ourselves safe. And one of those is that I've recently read in the AARP that they're doing a big initiative to help, especially seniors, avoid fraud. However, the reason that came to my attention is that in the article, they said that AI is now making it much trickier with the fraud. And they gave an example of a person being called by their daughter in her voice, crying, saying that she had yeah, had this horrible situation happen and then she got tricked out of a lot of money. But the point is that with AI now that coming up with, a lot of things that we might not really be aware of. So AARP is doing workshops around the country, including some in Chicago in April. And then secondly, there's a website called Interrupting Criminalization that has a lot of free resources in there that could be a benefit.
Thank you for your comments.
Oh, wait, sorry. And maybe that would be a use of some of the district's money to have some workshops to help people know more ways that they could keep themselves safe, in addition to the idea that you were doing the self-defense classes.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Okay, seeing no other public comment requests, I think we'll go ahead and close out the public comment. All right. Okay, now we're just gonna have a kind of like take a few minutes to talk about ongoing trends and concerns that we see throughout the 14th Police District. So this is where the community stakeholders can say, I know that the comment thread, and I'm not calling out Ms. Heyman, that your continued concern, I should say, is that sexual assault reporting is not transparent enough for you. So if you want to elaborate on that, I don't mean to put words in your mouth.
I go to my beat meeting is now beat 1414, split up 1413 to a separate meeting, so I don't attend theirs anymore. But they do not report on sexual attacks or even more importantly, I think, domestic violence incidents in our beat. I have been doing independently for the last 3 months at least. I've been going on to a city website that publishes the clear map data, but it doesn't match the data time period does not match the data being presented in my beat meetings, which is usually from the day before the meeting to a month past, whereas I can only do it by month, January, February, whatever month it is. But I am independently reporting all the domestic violence reports that I see on those reports at my beat meeting, but I doubt that that's happening anywhere else in the district. They have gotten used to me doing it. But the interesting thing about doing it is that there are as many domestic violence incidents which they are not reporting as there are robberies, burglaries, and other things that they are reporting. And I find this very disturbing and unsettling. They keep saying it's private, but we're not putting out anybody's name. They're putting out a block, 3300 such and such block, or 3200, whatever.
Right. They have cloaks, as they call it, and thank you, by the way. Before I go any further, I want to thank you for your ardent call to action on that. I think that's something that if no one says anything about it, it'll eventually fall into the wasteland where it's not talked about anymore. So
well, it's really disgusting because a lot of the police reports are going down, but domestic violence is not.
right, and
in my beat, 1414, it's a
Great, that's all.
very low crime beat.
So and I'm not trying to run cover or make excuses or anything like that, but I think the classification of how it falls into their reporting might be a discrepancy. I'm not certain, but it could be part of the delineation of underreporting or anything like that. But something I'll bring up to in my conversations with the commander, like, hey, how do we identify this all the way down to the beat level to where our constituents and our community members, more to put it more proper, are more informed of what's going on. And hey, this is a line item that gets brought up to every one of my meetings, and I want to make certain that we deliver on this. So
yeah. Also, I would really like to get reports on, as I said earlier, on what officers in the 14th district, are being charged with misconduct and particularly causing lawsuits that cause us tons of money. We don't get any kind of report on that. Not even here. And they don't come and they don't report. I mean, historically, maybe our new commander will do it, but he hasn't so far.
right, and to that, I'm a big fan of Commander Rivera. I think he's a breath of fresh air, and I love his approach to things. Not running for cover for him, and I'm not being his fanboy here either, but conversations that I've had with him, he will not tolerate police misconduct. He holds them to a higher standard than he does the residents of this community.
Then he should report that to us.
And
What he's doing,
right,
besides just saying that,
right, well,
and B, what officers, are doing this, and how many times are they doing it? And how much money are they costing us for just the 14th district?
right, and I can understand that, and I do agree with you. I'm not certain, but I'm certain that there's probably something in the union contract that says that they have to handle it through BIA and things like that, to where they can't openly discuss that sort of thing to the community. Is it right? Not really.
No.
Not really at all. I do respect.
We know BIA does not handle the cases like that in a what neutral manner. I
Well,
mean, they are definitely pro-police, and we saw that with the oath keepers. I mean, we had at least eight people across the city who were oath keepers. Registered oath keepers getting emails, paying money, and nothing was ever done about it. We still have one in the 14th district.
well, and from what I understand, the one that you talked about, Sergeant Nowacki, I believe he's on like a terminal, for what do they call it? What's the word I'm looking for? It's not leave, but they call it, anyway, basically, he's basically terminating out. He's getting medically discharged, as we called it in the
Medically discharged, but not for
well,
horrible
for
things.
traumatic brain injuries and things like that. And I don't want to bring up and voice his condition in a public forum. However, and like I said, part of the union contract, from what I understand, and I'm not saying that that's the reason. Part of it is to protect privacy. If people are accused of something but never prosecuted for it, were they really guilty? And it's kind of one of those things. If Ms. Heyman, for example, was accused of a heinous crime and you were innocent the entire time, you wouldn't want the public eye looking down on you at
I
the same
wouldn't
time.
care. I was
Well,
innocent.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
It's proclaiming it everywhere.
right, no, and I understand, but it's both sides of the same
No,
block.
if somebody's arrested, if somebody, is arrested for a crime, it goes into the papers
Right.
all the time. So why are police any different?
Because they're not arrested would probably be one of them, but
Well,
like I said, I mean,
they're
that's,
accused of crimes, and nobody knows who they are and how it's being handled in the BIA. I mean, the police. How can I trust the police my neighborhood and my community when they can't even police themselves?
well,
I mean, that's the bottom line.
did
They
that-
don't police themselves. They let horrible things go on and on and on. I mean, Nowacki had what, 14 criminal, misconduct allegations, some of them sustained, at least 2 sustained. And yet, there he is, still there, and nothing is done to him regarding all those misdeeds.
Okay.
Now, if I did that, I'd be sitting in jail.
More to your point though,
If I attacked people and called them names and did all that crap that he's done.
all right, so more to your point on the basically the 2 items that I'm gleaning from this conversation is you want more SA and DV incidents reported at the beat level, so that neighbors can
Yeah.
understand what's going on around them.
Yeah,
And you want to
and in
know,
all the beats, not just.
well, to the beat level is what I'm clarifying there, to where it's like everybody
Well,
in
they
that
do it a little
particular
bit,
area.
in my beat now, no.
And you also would like to see which officers in the 14th district are accused of misconduct and what the status is. So what I can
And
pledge,
how much we paid in fines.
what I can pledge to you is I will bring this up to the commander at the next opportunity and say, hey, can you deliver us a report on this? And if not, why can't you?
Right.
That way I'm more equipped to further flesh this out.
Particularly since we now have this law,
Right, well, and that's,
which is new in 2026.
right, but
But
that's,
it's part of the consent decree.
right, that's not so much laid to bear at the 14th district, that's more at the headquarters level. So,
Well, but they've got to get the info from the.
Right,
14th
right.
district. So
Well-
why can't they give it to us?
well, because it might be an internal document with confidentiality, but we're gonna move on from there. Any other trends and concerns, Ms. Orlico?
So I heard that they've now gone citywide with that option to call the mental health line or something like that for
811, is it?
for police, you know, so
Are you, are you talking about 811 or are you talking about the alternate response, the CARES teams?
I think it's the CARES teams that I'm talking about.
Oh.
And so it would be my hope that that would be a more appropriate person to go out for domestic violence cases. So I'm just wondering if you know more about how that's gonna roll out in terms of this district.
I can give a partial answer, but Matt, do you have any current knowledge on the CARES expansion? I believe that it was meant to be expanded either somewhat geographically or in the time frame. But
Last
I
I
don't remember
heard,
which one.
March was was the goal.
Do you know if they're expanding the area or the time frame?
Oh, last I heard, the goal was citywide expansion by the end of March. I've not heard any updates as
Sure.
to
If
the
that's
status of that goal.
Okay, right, we don't know if we're gonna meet that benchmark, but I think that is a goal under the current budget, which, you know, could always change with the next budget, however, the goal to cover the city, however, it is still limited in the time frame that it covers, often being from like 9 to 3 p.m.
9 AM to 3 PM?
It may have changed, but that was a time frame that it was before.
Yeah,
That's
part
weird.
of the challenge that they've had with CARES team, and I don't disregard it. I think it's a great idea. I don't think it's a complete substitute for having police respond to it, primarily because in the heat of the moment, which most DVs occur, people will act irrationally, and sometimes it needs a police presence to cool the temperature down or to mitigate the thing, even further damage. But one of the challenges that they had, from what I understand historically, is they're funding civilians essentially, so they're not locked into a contract or a union contract to where they can only work certain hours out of the day. And if you have an issue that needs to be addressed by the CARES team at 4 p.m. on a Friday,
Okay.
hopefully it can wait till Monday, so that's
Yeah.
part of the challenge, and the non-police response thing, like I said, I think it's well warranted, and I think could be utilized if it was expanded properly.
Wow, I mean, yeah, you'd think 3 to 9 PM would be better than 9 to 3.
You would think, but they're limited with what they can work with, so they kind of have to expand it out a little bit.
Thank you.
And then, and they may have, don't quote me on, or I'm not saying that is the time frame that they're advertising for the rest of the year. However, the time frame has historically been limited and, is not 24/7, which remains another. So
Right.
yeah, expanding the geography is one thing, the time frame is another area of coverage.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, and some of the domestic violence incidents are more serious. There's assault with a knife, with a
Right.
gun, in many of these cases, where I'm not sure a care team is really.
Is the appropriate response for it, right?
So you gotta, before they send people out, they need.
Need to further
the
evaluation.
OEM needs to have the.
There
correct-
are community violence interruption responses to domestic violence that existed before the CARES teams and are independent and have somewhat separate if overlapping coverage. So in the 14th district, groups including also the Alliance for Local Service Organizations, as well as I imagine PRCC and BUILD as well, and possibly New Life and Rincon, but for certainly also that is spoken here, identifies domestic violence as a point where violence against family members as a point where disputes can originate and then cycle. But they have teams dedicated to domestic violence that have some familiarity in the areas where they are working with people. So that is another option, or can be another option.
But we don't know whether that's happening and whether the police are actually funneling people there because they never report on it.
We have a hand up.
I listen to the scanner a lot. And there are a tremendous number of domestic violence cases called in, incidents called in. And the dispatcher always asks the officers when someone says they're going to be going up, are you blah, blah, blah trained? They always, whatever that training is, they ask.
Right.
And if the officer says, yes, they're sent. If they say no, then, you know, they have to send someone. But at least they've done the asking and they're trying to get officers that have that special training.
Right, and you're absolutely right. As a matter of fact, a lot of my knowledge of the CARES team and the training that certain police officers have, I think it should be department wide, in my humble opinion. To where anybody can go out and cover any issue that's needs to be addressed, you know, appropriately. But yeah, there's only a handful of people at each district that have that kind of training, so it kind of whittles down the more to a toothpick even further when we talk about that.
And they
Where it's
work
like,
at 8
okay,
to 3.
if CARES team's not available and the one person that we have that has this training in the district is taking care of other matters or is on furlough, that's the word I was looking for. You know, then what do we do? You know, so it's kind of a basically the horse catching up to the production of the cart, if you will.
What it also is that the police don't take it seriously. And in fact, because many, I have any data on this, but many police officers are accused of it also.
Sure,
So they're not gonna be interested in going in and dealing with that.
well, and look, and I'm not trying to minimize anything when I say this. Police officers that I've spoken to, the worst calls they can go on are DV and sexual assault, primarily because it's a bag full of cats fighting, and you know, to put it lightly, you know, where it's like there's a lot of unknowns. You know,
It's not a bag of cats, and we should,
well, no,
I don't,
no, there's
I don't think people should be taking it lightly.
what I mean by saying a bag of cats is they don't know what they're walking into. They don't know the intent of people. They don't know what the history between the people that are having the issue. They, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on that they don't know.
Yeah.
So it could be
But
the
that's
last
true
call.
of any crime they go in.
Right. You're absolutely right, but it's more prevalent in DVs because of
What's more credible?
the mystery, not knowing what's behind the door, what's coming their way.
That sounds like an excuse to me.
No, I'm not making excuses for anybody. I'm, like I said, it's what it's been explained to me, and I can understand and relate to a degree. That you don't know what's behind the door. You don't know what's been going on. You don't know the history of it,
Beating up
or vice versa.
very rarely,
But
very rarely.
I'm hearing it more, Sally.
Are you? Well, that's good.
okay, but all right. So any other trends or concerns that we should be aware of that we can report up to the commission?
And you know, we are planning to have further discussions, and both of the councilors also have, you know, some specific timely items that we're planning to raise as well. So we can.
Thank you.
All right. Reports from the councilors.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I have 5 items for the update, starting with a very unfortunate update. This happened just outside of the district, just south of us, at Chicago and Holman, which is in Kimball. But a man, Derek Jordan, was shot to death by CPD officers, including Max Walzer. And it has been ruled a homicide by the medical examiner. COPA is investigating, and the police department is recommending and moving for his removal from current duties, although he, for the time being, may be assigned to alternate response. Because I guess sometimes there are teams with different combinations of agencies on them. Personally, as an, you know, I have some reservations about him serving, you know, on an alternate response team, that also we would hope is going to de-escalate situations. But anyway, this happened. The shooting happened on March 9th. There was a lot of information being put out that it is not supported by the evidence or the videos or witness statements. Yeah, the facts, remain that Jordan was in his vehicle that was surrounded and he had been he had been attempting to get past a type of barricade, but at the point before he was shot, his car was relatively motionless. There was no immediate threat, and there were also claims that he had been brandishing or firing a weapon, which is completely untrue at the time that he was shot over 6 times in his vehicle and killed. So once again, this did happen just in the 12th district. Our border is on Division Street, but I did want to share that because we have talked previously about trends and concerns with police violence in this council. Second is, well, what the heck is that? To come back to that. There. Okay. We are. I'm excited, very excited to announce that Deputy Director for the Chicago's Office of the Inspector General, Ms. Debarra Richardson, will again be gracing us with her presence and sharing some knowledge with us. And she has confirmed attendance at our May meeting. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the details on that. Yes. So that meeting is Saturday, May 2nd at 1 p.m. at the Logan Square Library, 3030 West Fullerton Avenue. And in addition to anything else that you can request us to ask her to be prepared to discuss, and you can ask questions. But the main topic I mentioned was the report they released about inconsistencies in CPD's internal disciplinary records, which was mentioned as a topic of interest by committee members at the previous meeting. Okay, then is okay. Just very quickly, personally, I supported a draft of a resolution aimed at protecting democracy and voting due process. It had a goal of establishing ice-free zones for polling places. It did not end up going to vote prior to the primary election that transpired. I also am currently supporting the Race Act, which is for establishing voting rights for people that had previously been convicted of a felony, who currently are barred from voting, participating civically for life. So any felony currently has a sort of life punishment, and that is being debated in the state, the Illinois state. I do not have the House bill number handy though. I had one more, but I cannot figure it out currently, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass on.
All right, well, thank you for your reports. Let's see, and first of all, I want to go ahead and apologize to everyone for not being here last month. I had something that needed my immediate attention down in Springfield. Had a great time, but I really wish I would have been able to join you instead, but I still had a good time down there nonetheless, doing some pretty good work for another organization I'm tied to. I also attended the quarterly meeting, where our citywide colleagues get together and we discuss items and bring forth any kind of updates that's going on that may be shared throughout the districts, and promote any kind of any items that we want to bring to the foreground for the commission to consider. Also at that meeting, they came to a decision of who made the mayor's short list for consideration. I've got it list. Yeah, we do have a list of the people's mayor kind of at the website, the webpage. I did anyway. So basically, Anjanette Young, who has been interviewed by TTW, I believe, on her making the short list. Here it is. Anjanette Young, who you may be familiar with. She had the no-knock warrant issue, and she received an award from the city for that misconduct. Let's see, we've got looks like a total of 3 people to fill the 2 youth spots. Angelique Guzman, Darian Johnson, who's been promoted on our page, he's the Good Kids Mad City co-founder. And Javier Vasquez is also a youth who was located in the 25th district. That's youth as well.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so I apologize. So there's a fourth person, I'm Hamza Jelani, or it might be Yelani. Don't want to butcher anyone's name. They are also on the youth as well. The other representative from the north that's being considered is Miss Rebecca Levin or Levin. So those 6 names are outside of Darian Johnson and Anjanette Young. Are those familiar to anybody? You haven't heard those names before? Well, I'm not really surprised because these decisions were made in what I consider a star chain. No transparency to select these applicants to go further to the mayor's office. But I am glad to see that we made some progress and that we've got some, what I believe to be hopefully qualified people to step in for the 3 vacancies at the commission level. So that's basically replacing Commissioner Gottlieb, Commissioner Ruby Navarito, who attended our meeting a couple of months ago, and Commissioner Minor. So. And two more years we'll be asking for, I know at least for 2 youth spots to be available. So keep that on your radar as well. That's all I have for.
Can I quickly go back to?
Certainly, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. My final one, update point is about the police board, put out their annual report from 2025. You're not gonna read it, but the president highlighted that the most significant issue that they're facing in their work is the ongoing legal battle brought by the Fraternal Order of Police, calling to have disciplinary, to have the option for disciplinary decisions to be made by private arbitration rather than the public police board hearings. You can find that report by searching the police board on the Chicago's website online.
Okay. And I do have one more item that I wanted to bring up. Community Training Observation Days. I don't know if anyone's familiar with this. This came across from Ms. Boyle from CPD, civilian employee of CPD, to where basically it's Police Training Academy is going to have all members of the community are welcome to get a first-hand look at recruit training for sworn officers through our community training observation. Basically, from what it's been billed as, you get to see what probationary police officer goes through in police academy. So part of our drive forward is to train our police officers better. This is a way to put the tape to the metrics and make certain that it's added properly. So that one, the date and time schedule is April 11, 2026. If anyone's interested, I can share this or I can email you the information that you would need to get signed up for it. I've signed up for it because I want to be in the know of what's going on there and how I can be a better counselor for you. All right. Anything else?
No, move on to
Updates from the commissions? Well, I've kind of covered my commission business, but feel free if you have anything.
Yeah, the commission, 3 items. First, the commission is having their March monthly meeting this Thursday, Thursday the 26th at 6:30 at the George Washington High School, which is 3535 East 114th Street. That's 3535 East 114 South. But you can also register for it on Zoom and email if you'd like to do a virtual public comment before the day of. Second is also about the nominees. The commission or the CCPSA department put out a press release that was not on the website when I checked it this morning. I had emailed and asked them to put the press release on the website. The press release does have some paragraph of biographies for the 6 nominees, so you can look for that. If you would like me to send you this, you can get in contact with me and I will forward it to you ahead of time, or hopefully it will be on the website soon. If people are interested, I can share or provide brief information about some of the nominees as well. But let me know if that's a priority today, but, and then the third and final thing is, update, yes, is that there's a group of district counselors, a majority of district counselors, wait, is the. Yes, a bunch of district counselors have, as well as other. Is this multiple? I'm sorry. Oh, I think this is multiple things. Okay, that's why I was confused.
Oh, sorry.
This is two. Okay, no, actually, that's perfect. Okay, now it's clear. But yes, district council, okay, the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability in response to a community petition, as well as other urgings, held a special hearing, in the beginning of this year about law enforcement collaboration with immigration enforcement. That hearing's structure was a listening session, which consisted solely of an extended public comment session. There were calls after that. There were numerous calls after that, including to hold a special hearing, including panelists and Superintendent Snelling, high-ranking representative from the police department, to be in attendance, and for the commission to, take I don't know, more stances or things like that. So there is going to be another hearing. The commission agreed to hold a hearing on April 2nd or April 4th. Which one?
April 2.
Oh, thank you. On April 2nd, the commission is going to hold a hearing, and I believe that the superintendent is committing to be there. Not necessarily. Anyway, that's fine. We'll move
And
that.
then I've got some updates.
Well, yeah, let's just, okay, that's it. Just then, so district counselors sent a letter to the commission urging them to be part of the process of designing this hearing and making sure that there is a panel of experts and that questions that were raised previously are answered by the department and the commission.
Unfortunately, the April 2nd date was rejected because it's Passover, and so currently there is no date set,
Okay.
but that is still they are still attempting to schedule the follow-up to get as many commanders in the room as possible, as well as Superintendent Snelling. So the most current update is date TBD.
Well, thank you. That's an important update. Appreciate that. And yeah, that's it for that. Unless anybody has a burning need to ask any questions about any of the nominees at this time. Okay.
Just to kind of put a bow on that, city council and the mayor, because both of them have to approve the selection of that short list, is due no later than April 12th. So we should, not by our next meeting, but our follow-on meeting after that, we should have a finalized list of who's going to be our next commissioners. So. All right.
And if I may, I wanted to wait until all the other counselors gave their updates, because in her absence, Counselor Vargas sent along updates, but I didn't want to be redundant to things that you all have already shared. Counselor Vargas is the representative on the nominating committee from District 14. And she just asked that I share kind of like a summary of what they went through. As was already stated, the nominating committee must nominate at least 2 candidates for each vacancy, hence those 4 candidates for the youth positions, and at least 2 for the North Side representative. While the nominating process began in January 7th, it was really in the last 2 weeks prior to the March 7th meeting that probably required the most time intensive dedication of the nominating committee members, including at least 1 meeting that went all the way until 1 a.m. And the quarterly meeting being interrupted numerous ways and numerous times because there was such active debate over who would be moved forward. So as Councilor Orlikoff just echoed, the mayor has 30 days from as was named, I think several times, the mayor has 30 days to choose which of those nominees will go then to city council vote. And again, if I will also not offer to read the bios of all 6 nominees, if you're interested, There are some additional copies of the press release on the back table, if you want to read those. I'm happy to read them aloud. And then I already covered the most current follow-up update that the April 2nd date has yet again been scheduled to an
All
unknown.
right, so TBD on that particular meeting date. So thank you for those inputs, by the way, on there, Nat. All right, and doesn't look like we have a representative from the police district here.
Was that known?
I didn't know. I don't know if you knew or, but I mean, I actually went out to, in part of my updates, I guess I could have included it. I spoke with the commander directly. As a matter of fact, our staff member Nat was there in attendance as well with the coffee with the commander, and I think Ms. Fortman might have been there. I think I remember seeing you there. But no, I mean, and it's kind of like a CAPS meeting to a degree, but you get more direct access to the decision makers at the district level. So if you're ever interested, I highly recommend that you go there and air your beef out. You know, say, Commander, this is the line that I'm gonna hold you to, and I want you to toe the line, you know. And like I said, I've had frank conversations with him at those events. And Tori's been very receptive, and I think he doesn't treat me any different than he would anybody else. So highly recommended for the next, be on the lookout for the next one.
Quick comment, just, yeah, I did not, in regards to the district's presence and participation in this meeting, I did nothing. I was laissez-faire, and I don't fault them for not having any attendance in light of the fact that this meeting date was also moved as well. And so I did nothing specially to reconfirm with them. So I'm, you know, and also we didn't have specific plans for them to respond to specific inquiries necessarily. But maybe there's one that you do want them to talk about in the future. That's it.
All right, no, thank you. And before we can go ahead and get into the moving because we're not there yet. Okay, so hearings and discussions, you said you had a couple of items for each of them.
For 1 and 3.
Okay, so let's start with one, police accountability.
Let me just real quick, I got 1, 3, 2 or 3 here. So starting with previously we passed a resolution this council did with the 2 members in attendance called Protecting Chicago from Fascism. And some of their discussion updates related to some of those topics. First is that one of the older people serving the 14th district, older person Jesse Fuentes of the 26th ward, was the chief sponsor introducing an ordinance that passed in city council. That ordinance grants COPA, the Civilian Office for Police Accountability, jurisdiction to investigate alleged violations of the Welcoming City Ordinance, moving that jurisdiction from the Bureau of Internal Affairs within CPD into the Civilian Office for Police Accountability. That did pass a city council, and so is now policy. And so any new complaints against CPD officers relating to the general policies to follow the welcoming ordinance can be and will be investigated by COPA. That was one of the things as well that this council was calling for and supporting in the resolution to defend Chicago from fascism. I will note that it additionally, our resolution notes that there are, as was said in the hearing at the CCPSA, many of the complaints that people have in regards to law enforcement collaboration with immigration enforcement are happening somewhat outside of what the Welcoming City Ordinance is regulating. So there are other ways of collaborating that are not, the Welcoming Ordinance only applies basically to arresting someone with a charge of immigration violation, rather than the interference with citizens and other residents that we saw. That's number 1. Or that might be the main one. That might be the only one for police accountability that I have. I have some for public safety.
All right, well, I do have some for accountability.
I have one more.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. And I also have signed on to a petition that almost 250 elected leaders and community groups have signed on to, calling for the appointment of a special prosecutor, to handle, cases of immigration, of abuses by immigration agents. And oh my gosh, sorry, I'm a little bit. Additionally to that, however, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office did release their, are you talking about the Cook County State's Attorney's Office released their official protocols for how they're saying that their office should handle, cases of, excessive force by immigration agents. So they've come out with their official protocols that you can read effective February 19th. Called the Federal Immigration Enforcement Action Response Protocol. So basically it outlines that they should do this normal process to investigate if there are, crimes committed with excessive violence by immigration agents. And again, I will point out that falling short of what this council has demanded, there have yet to be any charges or, active investigations or comments about those in relation to the murder of Silverio Gonzalez, or the attempted murder of Miramar Martinez. So these are known cases, known individuals. So despite this protocol being in effect, it is not, we have not seen any charges yet. It hasn't been used, in my opinion.
Well, he just covered the input that I had for police accountability, which is Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Setting up protocol for the use of force for incidents involving federal immigration agents. Of course, I can always share this information offline with anybody that's interested in hearing more about what their office is sending. All right, restorative justice, anything?
No.
Okay, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office does have, they also have sent out the same mailer that I got. Juvenile Alternative to Detention Pilot Program launches. So basically it's, I think it's kind of like the what do they call it? My brain is going nuts today.
Deferment.
Yeah, not deferment, but the restorative justice courts, that's what it was. So this is kind of in line with that, to where it's basically it's a deferment program, rather than locking juveniles up and putting them on a path to becoming even more of a hardened criminal. I think this is a pilot program to where it's like, okay, well, it's kind of like a pretrial, if you will. But this one covers a little bit more than the restorative justice courts, because this one goes so far as to even some of the more hardened criminal lines, the robberies and things like that, carjackings and things of that nature, from what I've gleaned from what they put out there. So like I said, just like my last item, I'll share this ad nauseum with anybody that wants more information on it.
I didn't catch, who's that from?
That's from the Cook County State's Attorney's Office.
Okay.
Right? Evidence-based approaches.
My last one, I started mentioning this, but I didn't finish, and it fits here better. So I have signed on to a petition calling for a special prosecutor for handling cases against federal immigration agents. Just to wrap up, there is going to be a hearing on that on Tuesday, March 24th at 11 a.m. before Judge Erica Reddick from the Deputy Chief Judge of the Criminal Division of the Cook County Circuit Court. I believe that hearing is for the lawsuit that was filed. So my petition, I'm not a direct party for the lawsuit, but I signed a petition that a number of people have signed in support of that. And those are all the items, but we didn't, if there is need for anyone in the community for discussion on any of the items that we listed, are there any questions or other additions or issues related to the police accountability or evidence-based approaches to public safety, or anything we missed on restorative justice? Otherwise, we're happy to continue.
I've got a question. I think you have referenced quarterly meetings. I assume this councils. How do we find out about those, and can we attend as by Zoom or something like that? Because I never get any notices about it.
Well, great questions, because yes and yes. So yes, you can attend them. You can attend them in person, you can attend them via Zoom, I believe.
I don't know if there's virtual offerings for the quarterly meeting.
Would be a good idea for.
I'll
people like me.
I'll confirm with the project manager.
Right, and Yeah, it's structured just like a regular meeting, and of course, we have public comment to where people from the communities can come in and share their thoughts and displeasures and what have you. Or hey, if you got attaboys, we'll hear those as well, but get very few of those. But no, I mean, and they're on the CCPSA webpage. If you go into like the general calendar, you can see where they pop up. Matter of fact, I probably have something on my laptop here.
Do you mind if I share something on that
Go ahead,
topic?
go ahead.
With the caveat that I have not attended the last meeting, in the past, there have been significant portions of the meetings that were not deemed to be for the public. Whether those, sometimes those were, and it's possible that that issue has been resolved. Maybe in the past, they were maybe thinking that to have discussion groups with different district, okay, that. I believe that the agendas for these meetings have changed, and it's true that at least at a certain point in the past, one person that tried to attend as a community member was disappointed in the level of access and participation that they got out of it. But again, the agendas have changed, so it may depend on, you know, what the future agendas are. Yeah.
And do those meetings send reports to the citywide?
The minutes
CCPSA
are,
or-
we approve the minutes here, and they are posted for our council. But they started having them be posted in each individual council, just in case, at least you would have two of those counselors there at that meeting and or in a breakout session or something. So just to cover it, the quarterly meetings are listed under every council's website with the date, agenda, and the minutes once those minutes are approved.
Right. Any corrections from the staff on those items? I want to make certain we're putting out accurate information for everybody.
Well, I was just kind of curious how
Yeah,
the council meetings, you know, get up to the CCPSA. The general board, it was like. Seemed like
Right.
there was a communication gap.
well, right, and
How do my concerns about, you know, domestic violence, for example, get up to the CCPSA?
You can you
I
can email the
people
commissioners.
directly, but.
Yeah. Us to, yeah.
well, I mean, I think,
I'm just not clear of the communication lines, you know.
well, one of the things that we do at these quarterly meetings, and it culminates all to the annual meeting, which is late in the year, of course. Where every quarter we come up with proposals for commission priorities. You know, we had a lot of great things come out of that. A lot of great things, like the CARES Act expansion was, I won't say it was born from that, but it got a lot of steam in the engine for that, from that. You know, I mean, so you can see the caliber of things that, you know, it's, I wish I could give credit to just one counselor or a handful of counselors. A lot of those items come from community members. So understanding your rigid desire to have this be a primary, I'd look to work with you on drafting some kind of a proposal that we can introduce to a quarterly meeting to where we could make it a priority for the commission next year. And like I said, I'll make myself available to you whenever you want to collaborate, because I want to make certain I get the exact spirit of what you're looking for, and that they get the unfiltered version of it. Okay.
Great, thank you.
All right, where were we here? We were at the,
Any other responses to any of the items that have already been named? I believe I've named all the items that I had, so.
I've got one for evidence-based approaches. This is also from the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. They just built my agenda for me. They're launching a gun accountability program, or GAP. And it's basically offers a path for first-time weapons offenders to learn about responsible gun ownership and to avoid criminal record. So kind of, it looks like they're putting a lot of focus on youth and the criminalities that endanger youth to a life of crime. And I applaud them for that approach. I think that's the sooner you can get started, the sooner you can curb any future iterations of issues. So, yeah, I think that's a good thing. Like I said before, anything that the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, I'll share it with you. Ms. Rowland, go ahead.
On the subject of evidence-based approaches, I'd like to know if people are aware of this book that came out in 2025. The Unexpected Origins of American Gun Violence. I highly recommend it. It's based on research that was done for over decades on the south side of Chicago. And it's highly in my.
Who's the author?
Jens Ludwig. In 2007, and economist Jens Ludwig moved to the south side of Chicago to research two big questions: why does gun violence happen, and is there anything we can do about it? And he came up with surprising answers.
Okay, tell you what, I'm very interested to share that information with people that couldn't make it to the meeting. If you could, we'll talk offline and we'll get the information so that we
I'm
can
happy to
share.
loan you a copy of the book.
Well, we're in the library. We can't do that.
Oh.
But I want to share it with anybody that's watching remotely this is an archived video, so they can come back and check it and we can have it in text for the.
There's also some podcasts available for people that don't mind.
Very briefly, we were hoping to have a speaker representative from the state's attorney's office, and we are still hoping to schedule that for the future. And, you know, I already stated we're gonna have the Office of Inspector Generals here on May 2nd. But additionally, we're reaching out to the 26th Ward office in case the alderperson Fuentes or anyone else is able to speak, you know, in regards to the ordinance that was passed, and you may have other issues as well.
All right, moving on. Well, and as my colleague has mentioned, we were planning to have Cook County State's Attorney's Office. And I'm going to defer to our trusted staff member to give me any updates, because the issue that we ran into, and I think we learned this simultaneously at the coffee with the commander, is they have to have like a 6-week turnaround. So we have to put the request in and 6 weeks in advance, and then we probably won't know until that 6 weeks expires whether they can or can't, which kind of puts a conundrum. And I understand you have to allocate and you have to comp time and things like that. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm misrepresenting that, because I think you're a little bit more familiar with the employment aspect of things and how requests are routed.
Well, and I think what we learned at that meeting was that it's because the request was received with more than 6 weeks advance notice. What they need is the agenda to approve in 6 weeks advance notice. I also learned in the follow-up email that the representative sent us that they are in the process of a leadership transition. And so I imagine with a 2-week turnaround before our April meeting, it is not likely that they will make it to April. So it is my intention. I have not received a reply from my response to that email. So it's my intention this week to follow up with a call to see when in the future someone from the office might be available, and then work with the counselors to develop an agenda far enough in advance.
You don't want to come and talk to us.
I do have a question about as far as approval of the agenda. Does that mean that our agenda would have to be legally posted online, or does it mean the agenda for their involvement?
Like a draft agenda
Alright.
for their involvement, and because our notice and agendas are so boilerplate.
Yeah.
I think that is the piece of it that
Okay.
they would need to
Just
have.
the description of their expected involvement.
Yes.
Okay.
So I had a phone call with the point of contact. I think it's the same one that you're referring to. And they were looking more towards June.
Great.
And I think one of the things that kind of sweetens the pot for them is because that's going to be on a Thursday evening rather than on a Saturday.
Great.
So I move that we come up with we don't have to worry about, May's quite yet, but I'd like to go ahead and have a draft agenda prepared and ready to send off no later than, today is the 21st of March. Let's say April 1. If there's anything that you can forecast and that far in advance outside of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office attendance, that is.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, right now I can say, I think that by far the most important thing, would be that we have a Q&A. And so, I mean, if that's something that they're not willing to do and we need to get questions ahead or something like that, I would only look at that if we can't have a Q&A. I think, that if we have a Q&A, then that will cover the community's concerns, whatever they may be, or questions that they have as well. Yeah, so that's the number one thing. Are they willing to do a Q&A, or if not, then it would be figuring an agenda out without that.
So, just for my edification, so what we're looking at possibly doing is making this kind of like the special meeting we had with Commander Lennis at the Haas Park gym. Is that something, not in the Haas Park, not in the gym, but more of the setup to where it's more of a back and forth between.
Possibly, I mean, I'm sure that we are open to, having them deliver a presentation to begin with.
Right, right.
So that they cover things that, we don't have to ask.
I'm talking more structure of the meeting. Being the chair, I have to
Oh, okay.
come up with the structure and everything like that, make certain that it runs accordingly. So, and we can construct the agenda to fit that and make certain that that's in there, but is that where we're going, or is it more along the lines where, okay, we go through our regular agenda and we just inflate that time to.
Oh, I would totally be
Let's say
amenable
40
to,
minutes.
I would be totally amenable to having an amended agenda for that meeting. And, if the state's attorney's office is willing to put in, an extended amount of time, yeah, I would want to structure our meeting to make the most use of that.
Okay, because
As long as they're willing to be there.
like I said, I'm just trying to make certain that we're forecasting this and that we're not selling a bill of goods and people are confused or anything like that. So it's basically just to streamline the entire process. So what I'm gaining from this conversation is that we're gonna have a standard agenda with the exception of the presentation being, and I'm not gonna hold firm to this, but roughly 40 minutes, say like a 15-minute presentation and the remaining time of that being Q&A. Is that accurate, or is it more along the lines where it's like we do brief runs over everything else and then they get the lion's share of the hour and a half, or whatever the case is? That's what I'm trying to limit.
I mean, I'm fine with either. I think that the 40 minutes should be
Okay.
a sufficient enough time, but if they are willing to provide an hour or an hour and 15 minutes, I'm more than happy to, I think that is more valuable than the boilerplate agenda. So I'm happy to prioritize above 40 minutes if they're willing to provide that access. What did anybody here have opinions on 40 minutes or more than for the whole meeting?
Longer sounds good.
So the whole meeting, as much as they're willing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that's relatively new in our agenda, I don't know if anyone else has seen it, at the very end, there's individual briefings that's after adjournment, so. And I would welcome any of our presenters to hold a post-meeting brief as well. That way it's not so much on the record, it's more direct, and there's a lot more back and forth allowed in there at their leisure. Is that? So with that in mind, I mean, if they had the time to stick around and hold a post-meeting brief, would that be adequate for you as well? I mean, so I think if we go with the structure of, we inflate the presentation to a 40-minute block to where they get 10-15 minutes and then the remaining time to Q&A, and then we cut it, return to our meeting, and then they can do it as, as time's available for them rather than taking everyone's time in the room.
I mean, I think that would be acceptable. I would, yeah, I mean, my number one preference, yeah, or I think that the best use of our time will be the time with the state's attorney's office in the June meeting. And I'm not concerned with needing to schedule other items of business as much for that meeting. So, my opinion would be as much of the time that they're willing to give us, structure the meeting in that way. But I think the minimum, having 25 minutes of Q&A, I think would be sufficient. Which would check a lot of boxes, but more time would be better.
Okay, no, and I understand, but like I said, I think that's probably a better selling point, especially considering that this is going to be in the evening.
Yeah.
So when we start the meeting at 6 p.m., you start getting closer and closer to 9 p.m. Some people are getting hungry, and some people are wanting to go see their families.
Yeah, so I'm happy
included.
to, so we can cut some of our agenda items to make it seem less intimidating to everyone involved. I'm happy to do that.
So with that in mind, I'll template up a standard meeting and we'll curtail it out to where we have them as a presentation with so much time for their presentation and so much time for Q and A, and then remind them afterwards that they can have individual brief at their leisure. Okay, moving on. Recommendations, final actions or resolutions,
I don't think we have any.
and Ms. Hayman, I'm dead serious. I'd love to sit down and pick your brain and see how we can make this legal and efficient and make it make sense to everybody to where we get that push forward. So willing to work with you as much as at your leisure as well. All right, one question that I do have, and this is directed at Nat. Since we mentioned, we're looking at June now, because one of the things that's keeping me from getting that agenda put together outside of the discussion that we had, location.
Yes, I'm still working on those.
All right, so, just a reminder, verbal reminder to everybody, I know it's already on our calendar. June, July and August are gonna be, not be on Saturdays, they're gonna be on the first, well,
Eighth Thursday.
Thursday, roughly the first Thursday with the exception of July, because of the 4th of July holiday. But then it's gonna be, Thursday evening starting at 6 p.m. So, locations are still TBD. And I don't mean to put the screws on you right there, on that. I think you do wonderful work. It's just, I know the logistical nightmare that us and your other DCs that you're responsible for will put you through. That being said, our next meeting, is going to be at 1605 North Troy, or as we affectionately call it, the Humboldt Park Public Library. And that is scheduled for Saturday, April 7th at 1 p.m. All right, and any other items we can take care of individual briefings, we'll go ahead and adjourn unless there's an objection. All right, time now is 2:19 p.m. We are now adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.